like, you know what, forget this. When I play me a game of FIFA, if you beat me, I'll sign whatever you want. You can sell my house, and then I'll buy one through you.
And I was looking for it, and I'm like, I can't find the smell. Where's the smell coming from? It was a very sharp smell. Finally found the cabinet. I opened it, and it was all masala. I was like, oh my God, this is the reason that all the folks are getting, passing up on the house.
Well, I remember when you were getting married, you called me and said, because you hadn't said anything about getting married. You called me and go, hey, are you busy this day? I'm like, no, why? He goes, okay, you got to be at the mosque. I'm like, why? I'm getting married. I'm like, what?
I actually got in a fight with that agent.
Yeah, I remember.
So welcome to our first episode of The Real Side of Real Estate. I'm super excited to finally get my client that became one of my best friends finally on. It's been a long time coming. I've been waiting 3 or 4 weeks. Baljinder Tank, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. How's it going?
Good. I want to tell the story, man. I'm dying to tell the story. You know what we went through. I really want to tell the world what we went through. How did we meet?
So, we met through a mutual friend. I was at his house playing FIFA, and you by chance called him, and I was talking to him about a mortgage because he's a mortgage broker as well. And you'd called him to play him online, but we were playing, and he said, hey, you should talk to my neighbor, Bali. He's looking to buy and sell a house.
Yeah.
So he gave me the phone, and you started with your spiel about how you're just getting into the business, trying to give all that professional stuff. And I'm like, you know what, forget this. When I play me a game of FIFA, if you beat me, I'll sign whatever you want. You can sell my house, and then I'll buy one through you. So we end up playing the game. You beat me, and I'm like, all right, done, deal. And you were just shocked that it even happened that way. And then obviously Eden was he's like, did that just happen? Like, yeah. So I think it was the next day that you came over.
Yeah. It was, it's a struggle, as everybody knows. It's a struggle when you're starting a new business. You don't really know much about it. You're trying to be very professional, very, formal. And, I remember that game, beating you, and I've since then beat you all many times.
A lot of times, yeah.
In FIFA. But it was, it was very interesting, to get it that easy when it was so difficult in my mind. And I realized then, when I came into your house, that it was mostly about relationships than anything. And when we met and we went through everything, it was a very interesting time because when we got everything signed up, it was a hell of a journey. And that's what I want to kind of go over. We had a hell of a time selling the property back, it was in Gulf, it was in 6th Line, right?
Yeah,
in Oakville. Brown family, living on 6th Line, eating a lot of Indian food.
Yep.
But we did a lot of stuff there. We did the flooring, we did the paint, bathrooms. Yeah, we did a lot of work. We did a lot of work to get that place sold. It was a hell of a journey, and
I think even when we did it, the market was slow.
The market was a little bit slower, yeah.
Because I remember you saying, all right, it'll take a month, maybe.
Yeah.
And I think it was on for 2, maybe 3 months.
2 to 3 months, yeah.
Yeah, and in that time, obviously, you came, you met the family.
Yeah.
Every single time you come over, it's like, all right, just here's a beer. Have a beer. So we'll either be at my house or we'll be next door. But then we got everything done. And you did a lot of the work yourself. Because you turned around and said, you know what, this is my first one. I want to make sure it gets done.
Yeah.
So you were there. I think there was a couple of your friends.
Johnny, remember?
Johnny was there, yeah. Johnny did the bathrooms.
Johnny did the bathrooms. I actually helped him do the bathrooms because at that time was like, okay, they just got to get it done. You know, I was so used to hustling with all of my businesses. It was just like second nature to just be in it and, help someone get it done.
Well, yeah, because you used to still do the towing
business
during the day.
Yeah. I did the towing during the day.
And then you'd come over in the evening and do the reno stuff.
Yep. And
then it was usually on a Thursday or a Friday. I'd say, you're like, all right, we're going to do an open house once everything's done. I'm like, all right, there was a pub right down the road.
Yeah,
you could walk to the pub.
What was
like
the name of that pub again?
6 Line Pub.
Six Line Pub.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we used to go there,
yeah.
have a few points. You'll be like, no, I've got to go, and I'm like, I'm the client. You have to do what I say.
That was your line. I'm the client. You got to do as I say.
Yeah,
And I was like, shit.
yeah. Then we'd end up down at the pub, then
Yeah.
back at home, and I think who was it? It was it? It was Shireen, wasn't it?
Shireen, yeah,
we
that
got-
was one of my friends. Yeah.
Yeah, but he came and then back to the house, and he didn't really speak English. So the only way we could communicate with him was through like show him you'd say something, or I'd have to speak to him in like Punjabi. He could kind of understand,
Yeah.
or then we'd throw on a Bollywood song for him, and then he'd be like, "Oh yeah, okay, this is good."
It was a funny story because Shireen was one of my buddies, and what happened was we had the smell, the masala smell, right? And I was looking for it, and I'm like, I can't find the smell. Where's the smell coming from? It was a very sharp smell, and I finally found the cabinet. I opened it, and it was all masala. I was like, oh my god, this is the reason that all the folks are getting, passing up on the house. So I told Hema at the time, which is your wife at the time, I told her we got to get rid of all the masala, and she's like, yeah, okay, let's do it. And no Indian cooking for a couple of
I
weeks.
think it was like 2 weeks. 2 weeks, no Indian cooking while there was open houses.
No Indian cooking. So we put all the masala in the basement. I'm like, okay, now what do we got to do? We got to paint the house.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, you know what? We didn't have much of a budget at that time. Things were a little bit tighter. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to call one of my buddies and see if he could help me, and let's paint the house. Let's paint the kitchen. So I called one of my buddies and I'm like, hey, man, can you help me with some painting? It was like a 2-hour job.
Yeah, I'm-
1 hour, 2-hour job. He's like, yeah, for sure. We were there for 12 hours painting this kitchen. At the end of the night, he's like, man, you told me 2 hours. I'm like, hey, man, it happens. So, but you were a very gracious host. You got us a bottle. What was that? What was
I
that?
think it was a bottle of scotch or something.
Scotch or something, and you were playing music with
Yeah.
him, and he was enjoying it. It was quite an amusing thing because I was like, "Can you help me for 2 hours?" And it ended up being 12 hours, but we got through painting. We did the flooring, and you know what? It took some time, but we eventually got that place sold. But the journey getting there was very interesting, and that's what I want to talk about. The going to the pub was the starts of the night. It wasn't the end of the night.
No, it was never the end. By the time we'd done that, it was like we'd go back to the house, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna go to Dirty's, and you always say, no, I've got open house. I've got open house in the morning. I'm like, no, we're going. So we go out again, get home 1, 2 in the morning. You're supposed to go home. You're like, no, forget it. I'll just crash on the couch. I'll get you a blanket. I go upstairs.
Yeah.
And you're shouting, hey, I need a charger. I'm like, all right, no problem. Come downstairs with my boxes, scratching my nuts. Okay, there you go, man. I'll see you in the morning. We wake up at like 7 with all the kids and wake you up. And then you're like, okay, you guys got to leave. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we go out for a couple of hours while you're doing the open house. And then come back and you're already gone.
So this didn't happen one time, folks. This happened every weekend for 3 months. And every weekend, I had a hangover doing an open house, which was quite a thing. And let me tell you, the Oakville folks are very picky. They would look every nook and cranny of that property. And it was very memorable time for me because obviously it was the first ever listing I had and the first deal that we were doing. But I remember driving to Oakville all the time, and gas was expensive. It was premium gas, and I was pretty much going broke trying to sell this property, and I was actually questioning if this was the right business for me. I didn't know. And your ex-wife at now, Hema, she made it very interesting with her melodramatic times and crying and oh my god, like, even, do you remember when I called you? I'm like, what am I supposed to do? She's crying like it was quite a thing. It was like, you took the wrong picture, you're depicting my house the wrong way. And I was like, oh my god, I felt bad. And I called you and you're at work. He's like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You only have to tell me.
And I'm like, man, I don't know if I can do this. She was making me question if I could even be a realtor, if I could even I was even up for the task, because she was on me, and she was on me every day.
Well, it was a different balance. Like me, I didn't care.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
calm as whatever. He was more like she wants things done, and she'll just keep going at you until it's done. But then
Yeah.
you'd always call me. He's like, who do I tell stuff to? I'm like, just tell me. That's fine. Don't worry about it. But
It was quite a feat dealing with someone that was more mellow and like, okay, don't worry about it. And then somebody that's on you like about everything. And I remember certain times we were doing renovations with Johnny, and we're we're trying to we show up to the house, and she's supposed to be there at 9 a.m. and she's in Walmart shopping. I brought this contractor to do the bathroom. It's like, oh, I'm at Walmart. So we had some good times. We had a lot of parties those times. Oh my God. In
every
that house,
every Thursday, Friday was a party.
and it was like it was cleanup time Sunday morning with the open house. It was quite a thing. And even um after on Saturday nights, you had like a pizza place that used to get
No, the Bali
pizza
special.
from, and they knew you know by your name. What did they used to call that pizza?
The Bali special.
The Bali Special. It had some extra ingredients on that
Oh
one.
yeah, like ginger, garlic, chilies,
Oh
chicken.
my God, the spiciest pizza I ever had in my life was in this place in Oakville, and it was so good, but it was a true traditional Indian pizza, I would say. It was super spicy. Like, and I remember those times, and we were going out in dirty martinis, and these guys are funny. They would always make me, they'd throw me against the dance floor, go dance, man. It was quite a time, I tell you. Like the things that we went through with that journey was like, it was very special because your back's against the wall at that time, right? And you're like, can I do this job? Can I not do this job? And am I cut out for this? Is this something I can do? Is this something I can't do? I question myself all the time because Hema she was up, she was down, she was crying, she was happy. And I was like, oh my God, if this is the business, I don't know if I can handle this business. And you were just mellow the whole time. Yeah, don't worry. Let's have a beer. Let's play some FIFA. Don't worry about it.
Well, that's literally how whenever you used to come to give us progress updates, I'm like, oh, we'll just play FIFA. Just talk to me while we're playing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he would be in the background saying, well, I want to know too. I'm like, it's okay. He's right here. We'll tell you afterwards.
Yeah, and you know what? That's what I needed on my first ever deal, because you need someone to be more understanding, because you're already under pressure. You're already, like, oh my God, am I doing it the right way, or what am I doing wrong? And you were just cool as a cucumber, and I wish everybody's first deal was like that. Um, but it was a hell of a ride. Like we went through a lot of ups and downs, and then I remember when you were looking for a property, you were looking in Milton, right? That was the first place you were looking.
Uh,
That was your idea. You wanted to go to Milton first, right?
I was looking at Milton and I think it was Campbellville,
Campbellville, yeah.
but there was nothing. And then you're the one that suggested check out Stony Creek. I'm like, where the hell's Stony Creek?
Yeah.
Never even knew this place existed. So you're like, all right, we'll go down, we'll take a look. So then, yeah, because you went down, had a look at a few properties. I think it was the first time we actually came down. We put in an offer on that first property.
Yeah, that first one that didn't work out.
Yeah, because
It was conditional on the sale of our property.
no, they had a counter offer from someone else. It was conditional, but then someone else offered at the same time.
Yeah. So we had an escape clause.
Yeah,
And they got out of the deal because of the escape clause, but ours was conditional on the sale of your place.
Yeah.
Back then that was standard stuff.
Mm.
That was normal for it to happen. But yeah, we were devastated when we lost that one. I remember that was a little bit.
that one was nice. Like it had everything done that we needed.
Yeah.
But then it kind of worked out because literally the house I ended up in is down the road. It's only like 4 roads away from
4
this one.
roads away. Yeah.
And that by chance was because you knew the guy that was selling it.
Yeah. That was quite a interesting time too, because I actually got in a fight with that agent.
Yeah, I remember.
That agent was the first agent I dealt with, and let me tell you, he was not the most professional agent that I've ever dealt with. And most, it's good. Every agent has their own way, and but it was quite a feat because I knew his seller. I knew his seller from previous, engagements in the community and stuff like that, And I remember going through that property, and that was interesting too. He walked through that property, yeah, and the seller had a few kids. I think he had a
He had a
newborn,
newborn baby. Maybe like 3-4 months old.
3 or 4 months old.
Yeah.
And I remember your wife at the time, he was like, I don't care about the house. Let me hold on to the baby. It was interesting because she's like, let me hold on to the baby. And the sellers were home. Usually the sellers are
Yeah.
not home. And she was holding on to the baby. We looked at the house, and
We put an offer that day.
we put an offer, and you know what? I think we negotiated downward a little bit, but we got a hell of a deal on that house.
Yeah, he dropped a decent amount.
Yeah, I think he had, he was very motivated to sell.
Yeah.
But we got a phenomenal deal on that house. Now that I look at it, it was like, what, 395,000, something like that.
Yeah, it was like 395 or something.
395. Like, it was a, what, 6-bedroom house, guys. Like
Yeah,
3
'cause
bathrooms or 4
4
bathrooms.
bathrooms.
Like, it was a phenomenal deal even for that time.
Mm.
So
But yeah, because he had it listed at 5 something
Yeah,
originally with
yeah.
Anthony across the road.
exactly. And then he dropped it.
Yep.
And then he dropped it. And then, we caught him, with our offer, and we brought the price a little bit down. And it was a great time because when we got the deal, I was like, okay, maybe I can do this job now. Maybe I can do this. I sold their house. I bought them this house. Oh, job was still not done. Being the way I was, I'm like, okay, well, I'll help you move.
Well, that was the thing. Like the day we were moving, like the day the closing in Oakville, my wife, or like my wife at the time, she was going to England. So we were packing, and I had the 3 boys, all under 10 at this time.
Yeah.
And then we're packing in Oakville. I'm like, you have to go get the keys. So he's like, all right, fine, I'll go get the keys for you. So he goes to the lawyers, gets the keys. I've packed up in Oakville, got the kids in the car. We're following the van down. By the time we got there, you were already there. I think the previous owner had left like 2 chairs or something. So I walk in. I think it was one of your cousins and I think 2 or 3 of your friends. And this is like 11:30 in the morning. They've already got a case of beer. They're sitting around the table waiting.
It was a housewarming party, guys. You know what happened was it was funny because I wanted to get some beers for you, and I knew that you guys were gonna have a hard move because we are gonna help you offload all the stuff, and I know your wife left, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun because we had the whole weekend. I think it was a weekend we were doing. It was like a Friday or something.
We got the keys on a Friday.
Yeah, we got the keys on a Friday, and we were driving to your place, and I seen my cousin on a bike in the area. He was living in the neighborhood. And I'm like, hey, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just going home from the gym. I'm like, hey, man, you want to come help us move? He's like, sure. So I got a couple guys together, and we're like, okay, we're going to wait for Valley to come down. Oh, we were waiting. We had a few. We were waiting for you to come by. By the time you got there, maybe a couple of guys were a little drunk, but...
But we got it unloaded quick.
We got it unloaded very quick. There's 3 guys, and the boys were young. They were doing their part, but they were,
They're mainly in the garden.
mainly in the garden. So we should mention, like, I seen your kids grow up, man. Like, the youngest was what?
He just turned 3 when
3 years old.
Yeah.
It's like the age of my son right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
Mickey. When I met the boys,
they were all under 10.
Ranveer was 3,
3, yeah. Suki was 5.
Suki was 5,
Manny had just turned 10.
10. Wow. And now Manny's done high school.
Manny's 20.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Suki's 17 and Rumba is 15.
Wow.
So
Like-
remember, he was your first marketing person because he
Yeah.
used to hand out your cards at kindergarten. You want to buy a house?
Yeah, my best friend, he used to go to school and say, my best friend, he'll buy you a house. He wouldn't even say, he was, my best friend will buy you a house. It was, I remember that picture I took with him. He was a young little guy. He sat on my lap. He had his glasses and he was doing a peace sign. And I was like, wow, it's been what, over almost 15 years.
Yeah.
Almost 15 years
nearly.
since 12, at least 12 years.
Well, I bought the house in 2012.
2012.
But we started the renovations 2011. Because it was the back end of 2011 that we started.
Yeah, 2011. So, yeah, 13 years, 12 years. And that's how long I've had my license now, 12, 13 years. And, like, the boys have grown up right before my eyes. Like, playing soccer, taekwondo with my dad, and, like moving to Stony Creek. Like, how was that? Like, that must have been, like, a complete different
it was
wave for you guys, right?
it was different for the boys because remember Manny and Suki,
They didn't want
they
to
didn't
come.
want to move, so they
Yeah.
hated you for the first couple of weeks because they're like, we didn't want to move. Why'd you sell the house?
Yeah, yeah. They had a friend there, Mateo,
Yeah,
right? And they didn't
yeah,
want to move far
no.
from Mateo. Yeah, I
So, but
remember.
then Mateo came over, so because he had his license, so he was like, I'll come visit. So, well,
Yeah.
I'd pick him up as well. So, they were okay after a while. Rumva didn't care. He liked it because he got the biggest room in the
But
house.
now that like you guys have like transformed that area.
Oh
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like you guys are involved in youth soccer. Everybody knows your house in the area.
yeah. Oh,
Even with Hema doing the daycare stuff, like it became like a staple, Stony Creek for you guys. Like you made it your home, and you know what? It's grown a lot since then.
man, I remember when we moved. Even on Rymel, it was mainly fields,
Yeah,
and like the upper Red Hill portion of it wasn't even there.
it was not there. No, no, the
Like that
height
was all
was.
fields. Like because the cut through was Mount Albion. We used to
Yeah,
cut through to get to Rymel and then come up to the house, and then they blocked that off when they started building all those houses.
like it's there's so much development that happened there. Like I told you where I wanted to eventually move, and now I actually move in that. I'm living in that area. There's so much development that happened since even I bought, and I only bought like 9 years ago. But you
Yeah,
bought before me,
yeah. I bought. I think I bought 3 4 years before you
three,
did,
4 years before. Yeah.
and then even where you moved to wasn't fully developed because all
Yeah.
the houses that came up on the back end of yours.
Yes, yes, and then the houses that came in Central Park, and they're still building them. It's
Well,
looking really good.
even when I moved, we used to go to the driving range, which was on Rymel,
Yeah,
which is
yeah,
now all those houses.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's been a ton of development,
Oh,
and then one of your colleagues bought with me, Pragnash bought with me,
yeah,
right?
on
So,
Mud Street.
and
Just
Mud Street, and there was a lot of development there too,
mhm,
Penny Lane, right? So, and one of our friends lived there,
yeah,
Alex.
yeah. Basically, they were neighbors.
Yeah, basically neighbors. So pretty much all of my friends and family lived in that area. Like, all the ones that were really close. My
Mm.
my dad lived there, my uncle lived there, you lived there. And I remember it was kind of a little bit of a struggle to get you guys to see Stony Creek because you guys are like Hamilton. It's not really the nicest area.
I was okay with starting. Once you showed it to me,
Yeah.
I was okay with it.
Yeah.
Like I know he was a little hesitant because she didn't really know much about the area either. But I'm like, it's a nice area. I liked it because the house backed onto a conservation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then obviously the Frankie built a house there too because he had the lot plus the house next to it. So
Yeah.
he built one, but it's still quiet.
It's very quiet. Yeah, and it's the prices of quadruple there,
Oh,
right? Like it's like I think a house your size is probably at 1.25, 1.3 right now in
yeah,
that area.
like one. I think the one 5 doors down from me on the corner. That one
Mm.
sold for like 1.3, 1.4.
Wow, see, like it's
Yeah.
and the new ones, you mean the ones that were built are
No, the same age as
oh the same age?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, it's like
It's like near the entrance to the park, so it
yeah.
backs onto the park.
In a lot of people have escaped Toronto since then. Toronto, Milton, Brampton, the prices are so high.
Mm.
And Stony Creek, you could see all these multiculturalism starting, different ethnicities. When you moved in your area, you guys are probably one of the first Indian families in that area, right?
There wasn't a lot. No,
No, there
there
was.
wasn't a lot.
I don't think there was many
Well, Naz was there. Naz moved there a year before,
Mhm.
so he was there. Then there's me. Well, other than that, there wasn't really on our street anyway. There wasn't many.
And now, like if you come in my area or come in your area,
There's a lot more.
There's
Well,
a lot more.
you look at all the Indian stores that have opened up. Even on Rhinewell, there's 2 of them on Rhinewell.
Yeah, there's a Desi store. Do you see the one on Rymel there
Yeah,
by the gas station?
yeah.
They're
And then
popping up.
there's one next to the in the same plaza as the car wash.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That one there too. It used to be just in one area, all the Desi stores in the Centennial area.
Now they're up here.
Now they're all over. Like it's transformed. The whole area is transformed. A lot of things have transformed. But even going back to those times, like when I was looking for a property for you guys, I actually lived in this house.
Yeah.
This was my, place, right? And to see how much things have changed that came from here, the basement.
Yeah, we used to come play FIFA in the
Yeah,
basement.
play basement in and I was single, I was younger, and you know, life changed quickly. Life changed quickly. Like to you have to always remember that, with a flick of a wrist or a snap of a finger, things can just change for you, right? And as long as you stay on focused and motivated about doing something, you know. And like when I watched you, you know, to give you the onus, like I seen you, you were a young guy with 3 kids. I was like, holy moly, this guy's on top of the world, you know, listening to your Bhangra music. This guy would come with his car blasting Bhangra. I'm like, what is that? He's like, you don't know Bhangra? I'm like, no, man, I don't know Bhangra. But it was quite a thing because your whole area was like white. And there was one brown guy playing Bhangra music coming in with his Mercedes. I'm like, what is that? But like you having 3 kids and being married at an early age and so responsible, and that was the first time I knew someone that did IT. Now all the Indian guys that I know do IT. Like it was like, whoa, IT, what's IT back then? Now I've, not to say, most of the Indian people that I know are into that field. It was like, wow, man, this guy is killing it. He's mature for his age, 3 children, you know what I mean? Wife. I'm like, man, I've got to be like him.
And then we partied every weekend.
And he partied every weekend. Like I was like the opposite. I was like, okay, party, and all that stuff. But then I started to take this, everything really seriously, the real estate really seriously. And the other business we were doing very well, the towing business, but it was a complete different business. You know what I mean? Getting into like from a blue collar to a white collar business. And it was same with the relationships and the relationship building and stuff like that, but it wasn't identical to the 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 that I was doing, right?
Yeah, but you did that for a while.
I did that for like 10 years, right? So, and it was good when it was good, and then it was bad when it was bad, but you get a lot of life skills out of every profession that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a lot of life skills out of that, that translated into real estate. And the reason I actually got into real estate, and I told you I had a bad agent. I was looking for a house when I was ready to buy my first house, and she would just send me listings after listings with no correspondence, no phone calls. It was just all emails, and I didn't have time to go through that, and I was busy with my business. So I'm like, I want to study this business and see what I can do with it, and and that's when I met you guys, and that was my first you were my first real client. Now we become really close friends. You're like one of my best friends. We went through so much, and I remember when you moved here, and I took you out, and you're like, holy moly, I can't go out with this guy. This guy's wild. Remember those days?
That was the first weekend in Hamilton. Because the kids had gone to their grandparents because I had to unpack. And you're like, all right, we don't have the kids. Let's go out. You'll be fine. I'm like, all right. So we ended up going to went to a pool hall.
Oh, celebrities. Celebrities.
Went there, and you're like, oh, we come here all the time. So we're playing pool, and then it all just kicks off. So there's pool balls flying everywhere, and then I'm just looking like, what is going on? And then it calms down, whatever, cops come, and we're like, all right, we gotta go. There was like 5 of us, I think.
Yeah.
So we're going up the stairs. The cops are there. They're looking at everyone's hand, make sure none of us were involved. And then it turned out one of the police officers was from Hounslow, like near where I used to live in England.
From England, right?
Yeah. So I was talking to him, and you guys are like, oh, what do we do? I'm like, just I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. So you guys left me in Hamilton at Celebrities on my first night in Stony Creeks, and then I'm calling you afterwards once the cops gone. I'm like, did you get home? You're like, yeah. You know, where are you? I'm like, I don't know. I'm at Mohawk and something. So I just waited for a cab.
It was interesting because it was your first night out here, and we've went out in Oakville, Dirty Martinis, and Hamilton had a little bit of a rougher, like it had a little bit of a rougher crowd back then, right? And there was more fights in bars and clubs and stuff like that. It was a little bit, rough around the edges back then. Not like Oakville was. You could go out in a place in Oakville, you never have any issues. You went to Dirty Martinis many, many times and came home and, got our pizza and we had fun. It was all good. But Hamilton was a little bit rougher. And you know what, to be honest, I was a little wilder too back then, you know what I mean? Pre-marriage days and pre-kid days.
Yeah, now you've mellowed out a little bit.
And I remember you had a ringtone for me back then too. That was
Big pun.
Big pun. I
don't want to be a player.
I don't want to be a player anymore. That was like, but if you think about back then and now, I've done a completely 360.
Oh, complete. Well, I remember when you were getting married, you called me and said, because you hadn't said anything about getting married. You called me, and go, hey, are you busy this day? I'm like, no, why? He goes, okay, you got to be at the mosque. I'm like, why? I'm getting married. I'm like, what?
The funny thing is, you said you'll never get married.
Yeah. Yeah, because it came out of the blue. Because I was with you, I think, the weekend before that, or a couple of weekends before that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we were just shooting the shit, playing, whatever. Didn't mention it.
No.
So I'm like, all right, whatever. And then when you called and said, okay, you got to be at the mosque this day. He goes, not a lot of people invited. You are, though. So make sure you're there.
Yeah, no, I was watching guys like you, right? And I was like, man, I gotta get married. The pressure was on anyway. You're a brown guy. The pressure's coming. If you're brown, your parents are putting pressure on you to get married when you're 15 years old. And I was getting old, man. I was in my 30s, you know what I mean? And I wanted to settle down and, you know, as wild and fun as I thought, you know, at that time, I needed to settle down. It was you know, I seen you settle down and I'm like, okay, man, it's good. He settled down. He still comes out with us. You know, I could still settle down and see my friends sometimes here and there. It's not that bad. And then I had other people telling me, well, marriage is the death of you. Right? Be careful. But you know what? Like now being married for what? Almost 10 years? No, I would say 8 years. 8 years.
Yeah.
Shit, I should know this. I gotta say it's nice. It's nice to have someone that's there, supportive, loving, caring, you know. And I have my son. When I had my son, the first step was the marriage, right?
You were still going out with us.
Yeah.
Even when you were still at my house.
Yeah,
Even after you got married.
I know. But the first time was marriage, and the second step was my son, and that really kind of like, you know, changed everything.
That mellowed you out.
Yeah.
Once you had
When I had my son, and you used to tell me, I remember you're like, wait till you have children, and I'm like, no, what do you mean? It's the same. No, wait till you have children, and you were right. I got to give you credit. Like that changes you a lot. Seeing your kid born, and you have 3, so you went through it at like when you were young. You were what?
22 when Manny was born.
22 years.
I was turning 22.
22, and then Suki.
How old 3 years later.
So you were 25.
24, turning 25. Then Rambe was 27. All before 30. I don't know.
That's amazing, man. Honestly, like now that I'm looking at it, and you know, my wife is pregnant, as you know, and we're expecting. I'm just nervous already. It's the second one. You know, you're going through at 20, 22, you're on the third, you know, you're your first, 25, your second, you know, 28, 27, your third, you're like, holy moly, this guy was just, and you were in England back then, right?
Manny was born in England.
Yeah.
The other 2 were born in Oakville. And Milton and Oakville.
So how did you feel? Like, were you like very nervous? On your first one, you must have been super nervous.
Nah, I was like, you know what, just have them early. Because that way, you're already working hard anyway. You're trying to establish yourself career-wise. Yeah. Like I had a liquor business in England as well, so I was doing that and working in IT as well. So I'm like, have them early, establish your career. By the time you get to a point where you're established, they're already older. Like they're all kind of self-sufficient. Once they hit like 12, 13, they can make their own sandwich and stuff like that. They obviously still look after them, but it's a little bit easier. So you can still focus on your career. So now they're like, obviously one's in his 20s. Now it works out perfect. Now I've got 2 DDs. So anytime we need to go out.
Designated drivers.
I remember when he first got his license, it was you and me that actually went out. We went to, what was it? Vickers Vice or whatever it was.
Vickers Vice, yeah.
Yeah, we went to Vickers Vice and I said, we're going to come pick you up because Manny's going to drop us off.
I couldn't believe it. I listen, like these guys are these little guys grew up in front of me, and I think he was 10 years old when I first met your oldest, Manny.
Yeah,
we have the same name too. Yeah. His name is Manvir. My name is Manucha, but he was like, I'm the first man. He used to argue about that, and to see him pick me up in a car, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting old, man. You know what I mean? 20 years old. Picking you up in a car, hey, Uncle Manny. And I see him driving now. He's driving fast. I'm like, holy moly. Like, it's like, whoa, man, we're getting old. Like, it's been that many years, 12 years.
Yeah, because even Suki's got his license. So he's got his G2 as well.
Even your second. But the good thing is, like, you know, when you have kids that young, now they're your best friends. Now you're friends. You're playing sports with them. Yeah. You know, you
They
get to
play
go.
FIFA.
You get FIFA, like, and you know, and that's the thing that I would suggest to anybody that's like, you know, getting older. You should have them younger, because the older you get, the less patience you have with
Mm.
children too. And you know what? You want to have time, but it's hard to make time. And that's why I meant you like 3 kids. Man, you did it all. You had your fun, you had your kids, you know what I mean? At the same time. And like a lot of people can't say that. Like a lot of my friends, when they got married, I haven't seen them. I gotta put like MIAs. Have you seen this gentleman? Like they're gone. When they have kids, some of them you don't see them, right? And it's like you did it all while you had your children. They had their bedtimes. They had to be.
Oh, we were regimental though, because remember they used to go to bed at like 7 o'clock. By 7, they're in bed.
Yeah,
So then we're still down, and they used to sleep through anything because we'd have music going on,
yeah. We had
playing
music,
FIFA, having drinks, and they'll sleep through the whole thing, no problem.
and I gotta tell you, folks, if you need a bunga dancer, he's your guy. Me and him. What was that song they used to dance to?
Oh, bale, bale.
Ballet, ballet. I'm telling you,
That was our anthem.
that was our anthem. And the funny thing is, in my language, ballet means like hello. So I was like, hello, hello, hello. We were having a ball back then,
All the
and
time.
it was quite a time too, to when we had Hema making us drinks. That she
Oh
was.
my god.
You got to be careful. Who you got making you drinks, folks.
No, and that was your fault because we were playing FIFA, and this was in Stony Creek.
Yeah.
We're playing FIFA, and we'd already had a few drinks, but then I think we ran out of beer or something, and then you're like, "Oh, let's have some tequila." I'm like, all right. Well, none of us wanted to stop, so you're like, "Kima, can you make us 2 drinks?" She's like, "Yeah, no problem." So she pours pretty much that much tequila and like that much Coke. We both drink it, and that was the end of the night.
That was the end of the night. No, but it was funny because we had a regimen. We used to always start somewhere midway through. It was like a dance party
Yeah.
with the glow sticks, and then sometimes I want to mention to you guys, my friend here, he plays the best duel I've ever seen in my life. If you need a duel player at your wedding, I'm gonna put his contact information here. This guy, he can play duel, and sometimes a duel would come out.
Yeah, there was plenty of occasions.
Oh man, it was some good times. But you know what? I'm so happy that you gave me that opportunity, man. Like not to get sentimental or whatever, because that opportunity, it gave me the chance to show that I can do what I can do, and like and I didn't do it perfectly. I was just learning, man. I could have faked it as much as I could have wanted to, and I still was learning. As you learn anything, you got to kind of fake it till you make it, right? And if it wasn't for the experiences that we had, you know what I mean, and now we have a lifelong friendship, a bond that is unbreakable. That wouldn't have made me. Like that was like, and me, I never forget where I come from. Like I'm still the same person I was 12 years ago, a little bit mellow, more mellowed down, a little bit watered down, but same guy, same, respect to everybody, the people that helped me, the people that were there, the people that weren't there, I meant lots of, trials and tribulations that we went through. And now I'm sitting here doing our first podcast with you in the house that I grew up in. That this used to be my bedroom once upon a time.
Yeah.
And the struggles that come all going through all those obstacles and those hurdles to make it right. But if it wasn't for you giving me an opportunity, where would I be? Would I still be in my old position, doing the towing business, or would I give up on real estate, or would I keep trying? You know what I mean? Like you need a chance in your life, and like this man gave me a chance, and I proved to myself and to him that I can make it. And now we're sitting here 12 years later laughing about it on a podcast about the funny stories and all the good times we had. And like, you know what? I had to tell the stories, man, because who does that? Like who goes through all that through a deal? And that was the first deal. So it was very memorable. Like all of the things, from going out together, from you coming down to get the charger in your underwear, like all of those things, and like meeting the great people that you had around you, like Kelly, and you know, meeting Raj and like the stories that were built there, you know, the stories built in Dirty Martinis and the drama with Hema.
No, there's a lot of stories. But even coming into Stony Creek, like we've done so much stuff.
It was fun, man. It was fun. You know what? And that's what I learned that it's not about anything but the journey. You know what I mean? The journey. You got to enjoy every step, man. And like sometimes we kind of get too far ahead and we're like, okay, you know, we forget about the steps. And that's what this is about. This whole show, everything is about remembering where you came from, being thankful for that, remembering where you are, being thankful for that, and just encouraging people to never give up and keep going and never give up on your dreams and your hopes because you never know, man. Like yourself, I've seen you go from, you know, starting off in the IT business and now you're like a head honcho in your job there, right? You work for the bigger company and you know you get to drive all these Lamborghinis and Ferraris and all these cars and I'm like, and now when I was a younger age and your age and I'm watching this guy, I'm like, look at this guy's Mercedes, he's got everything. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I want to be like him. You know what I mean? I want to work hard to be like him. You know, and it's always good to have the right people around you because the right people around you help you come up. They uplift you, right? And I always believe that your net worth is you know is based on your network, right? And if your network is good, I had to cut a lot of people out. You know, I'm sure you cut a lot of people out of your life to get where you are, right? Because they weren't progressing. They weren't helping you progress in your journey, right? And I cut people out. I kept the right mix in, like yourself, and people that I aspire to be like or be on the same level as. But that's the beauty of it. The journey was the beauty, and like honestly, man, thanks so much for coming out.
Always, man. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
like, and this is like, it meant a lot for me to do it with you the first time.
Popped your cherry again.
You popped my cherry again. You popped my cherry the first time. You popped my cherry the second time. Only a few things have changed, but I'm still the king of FIFA. Thank you so much, bro. And you know, I hope that we can keep our friendship for life, man.
Yeah, man,
That's
of course.
you know what it is, man. Like at the end of the day, you know, it's always gonna be friendship, man.
Oh, yeah,
It's
for
always
sure.
it's always for me. Relationships are everything. You know what I mean, and you know that. You know that. Thank you so much for everybody joining us out there. If you'd like to message me on my Instagram, will be underneath danny.ur.realtor. If you have any comments, questions, anything, please let me know. Thank you so much.